Now in the second part, I'm going to stop sharing here and upload the second part in which we're going to discuss the main crux of this chapter is that how we can allocate the supporting departments or supporting division expenses or cost towards the production department or division cost. That's what we call it as a direct method or a step down method or a reciprocal method. So let's start. So division costs often include cost allocated from other divisions based on three alternatives. One, as is mentioned, direct method, step down method, or reciprocal method. Now, in order to understand this whole idea, there is an example, and we're going to focus on these examples to understand all the three methods. So I'm going to make it bigger. So okay. Now, we have four departments, four main departments, and two divisions. Now, there's a plant maintenance and information system department, and these are support departments. And we have two operating departments or operation departments, and these are machining and assembly. And in the first row, the total cost of each department is given. Like 600,000 is the total cost of maintenance department. 116,000 is the total cost of information system department. And then we have a 400,000 for machining and 200,000 for assembly. And the total cost is 1.316 million. That's the other information is given is like that. The budgeted labor hours that we wanna use is 1,600 is allocated labor hours for information systems department. We are using there. That's a budgeted that we gonna use those much labor hours there. Machining 2,400 labor hours, assembly 4,000 labor hours, and by this way we have a 8,000 labor hours. The other information is given like a this plant maintenance department is going to be contribute the services provided by the plant maintenance department, 20% to the information systems, 30% to the machining department, and 50% to the assembly department. So it's all together. Now for this is for plant maintenance. Now for by information system. So information system is also providing services to the maintenance department, and that is 200 computer hours they are providing, or a 10% of their cost, 10% of their services they are providing to the maintenance department. And the rest they are providing 1,600 computer hours to machining and 200 computer hours to assembly. And in proportion, in percentage wise, they are providing 80% to 80%. These percentages are basically, if we calculate it, like, it's the total is 8,000. So if you divide 4,000 divided by 8,000 into 100, so it's going to 50%. And same is the case with the 24,000 divided by 8,000 into 100 is 30%, and this is 20%. So if there are total is 2,000, and when we divide 1,600 divided by 2,000 into 100, we get 80% for machining, and 200 out of 2,000 is 10%. So we see here the assembly is going to 10%, and similarly the 10% for maintenance department. So that's an information we already have. Now what we need to do is, the question is saying that we have to distribute this 600,000, which is the cost of maintenance department, and 116 dollars, which is the cost of information department, to distribute this among the machining and assembly department. Now, the first method we want to discuss is a direct method. The most widely used method of allocating supports department cost. Allocate support costs directly to the operating department. Any service rendered to one support division to another support division is ignored. So we don't need to distribute the maintenance service department cost towards the IT support and no need to distribute the IT support to the maintenance support. We just take the total cost of these and distribute among the assembly and machining department without distributing to the other supporting department. So this is what we call it as a direct method. And here is an example in order to see that how it works. So we take what we what we are doing. We are dividing this $600,000 maintenance department cost among the machining and assembly by, you see here, 400,000 and 200,000. How we divide this, what proportion we use it. So if we see only this and this, not taking the total. So this and this, it's going to be 6,400. So if we divide 2,400 divided by 604 into the total cost is 600,000. So we get it this, right? This is direct allocation. So what we are distributing 600,000 to machining department. So we see here 225. No, these are the cost of, sorry, this is 225 and 375. How we divide this 225 and 375, I just mentioned you. So if we have a calculator, I'm gonna explain you here. So as I mentioned, if we go back, so 2,400 divided by 6,400 multiplied by 600,000. So it's a 225. So what we just take a sum of this. We have to divide according to this proportion. So we can say its proportion is 2,400 divided by 6,400. So that's a proportion goes to machining, and 4,000 divided by 6,400, that is going to assembly here. If I write it here in order to understand, I don't know you can get this my writing because there is some issue that digital pen. So 2,400 divided by 6,400 into 600,000, you get it 225. And similarly, 4,000 divided by 6,400 into 600,000. So we get it 375,000. So we are directly distributing the cost with the proportion they are using the services of that department, ignoring the we are ignoring the fact that this one is used by the IT information system department as well. So we ignore it. Similarly, we can do this 116,000 among the same way that what we did here. Like we can divide again 2 4, not this time 2 4. This time we have to use it 1,600. So if you use this proportion, 1,600 divided by 1,800 into 116. So it's a 103,111. 103,111. And similarly, 200 divided by 1,800 into this 11600. So we get it this value 587. 587. So this is our direct method, and we can calculate this way that the cost of. The other method is step down method, also called the sequential method, in which we make one department as a primary, and then we distribute the cost of this department to other department, and then it's a stepwise. In first step, we divide the cost of a one supporting department among all other departments, including the other supporting department, and then finally we take the second service department's cost, and distribute among the supporting departments. So this is what we call it as a step down method. So also called the sequential method, and partially recognize the natural mutual cost of services provided by one support department to another, allocate support cost to other support department and operating departments in a ranked sequential order, can be ranked by percentage of services or the dollar value of the services provided to other departments, lack simplicity, economic plausibility. Why there is a economically plausible? Because the distribution is more fair as compared to the other ones. So we can see here step down. So what we are doing here is that first, what we are doing, we are distributing the cost of maintenance department among the information system, machining, and assembly. So we see here, we divide this cost of 600,000 is the 120 to IT information system, 180 to machining, and 300 to assembly. And then what we do, we get a total of the information system, which is 236 between machining and assembly. So it's a stepwise. One step, we distribute the one support services department to all other departments, and then the second support services department to all other. Now, what is the ratio of distribution of this? The first ratio is very similar, like this one, maintenance departments, this ratio, or these percentages, like a 20% of 600 is 120, 30% of 600 is 180, and 50% of 600 is 300. So this is the way that we distribute in our second: 120, 180, and 300. Now, what is going to left is then we add up the cost. We see here the 236. Now we divide the 236 based on this proportion. Based on this proportion. So we see here that we divide 1600 1600 over 1800 into 236. So we see here 1600 divided by 1800 into 236,000. So we get it 209778, and the remaining 200 divided by 1800, or the remaining value to the assembly department, and by this. So this is our step down allocation method. The last method that is called as reciprocal method, and through which we allocate our cost of the services department to the production department. Support department cost to operating departments by fully recognize the mutual services provided among all support departments. And reciprocal method fully incorporate interdepartmental relationship into the supports department cost allocation and use simultaneous equation. As I mentioned, we are using simultaneous equation to obtain the reciprocated artificial cost using linear equations, matrix algebra, or Excel solver to solve these equations and get the values. Highlight the complete reciprocated cost of support department and shows clearly how actual costs differ from the budgeted one. So this is more accurate, but it's complex, and we need to expertise in linear equation, or matrix algebra, or Excel solver to figure it out, these reciprocal. And if there is a lot of departments, service department, here in our example is only 2. If it is 5, 6, then it's more complex. Then we have a different 5, 6, 7 equations, and then we have to solve these all simultaneously. So manually, it's very difficult. With the 2 departments, we can do it, but with a lot of departments, it's hard. But Excel solvers can do that. So here is an equation. What equation is saying is that the plant maintenance department, we represent here plant maintenance with PM. So plant maintenance department is 600,000. That's the total cost of this plant maintenance department cost, plus 11%, you see here the information in the beginning. So what is the cost of if we want to calculate the maintenance department cost? So this one is the cost plus 200, which is 10%, 10% of the IT department cost. This is an IT department cost. So this is what we are writing here in equation, that the total cost of the plant maintenance department is 600,000 plus 10% of IS, which is information systems, 10% of information system. And similarly, we can write it as well. This one, like 116 plus 20% of MP, right? Which is plant maintenance. And what we wrote it here, 116,000 plus zero point 0.2, which is 20% of PM. So if I erase this to make it simple. Now these are two equations, two variables. One variable is PM and the other variable is IS. And by this way, we can solve it. How we can solve it? If you plug in this equation, this IS, this whole equation in place of this IS. So we can write it 600,000.1 into this whole part in place of IS. And now we can solve it for PM, and we see here that is a solution for PM, and ultimately we get it like the total cost towards the PM, and the total cost is of the PM is 624. And similarly, we can plug in this PM cost here in order to get it. This 240,816 is the total cost of IS. Now what we did, we distribute this because this is a 624 is the total cost. But in the beginning, we have only 600. So 24,000 is coming from IT department. And this is 116 and the total cost is 240, which we calculated through equation. So it means 124 is coming from maintenance department, and we have to allocate this these whole amount. Like here we want to distribute 624, so we apply the same proportion what we used before to distribute not the 600 but 624. And then also we use the same proportion what we used before to distribute 240, not 116. So we divide this way and we get at these values. Now it is important to note what we are registering here. So if we apply reciprocal method, so just focus on one department and then you can see. If we apply reciprocal method or the simultaneous equation method, we get for maintenance department 779. And if we apply step down method, we get it 789. So it's a 10,000 difference. And if we apply the direct method, we get it 728. It's a huge difference. It's a difference of about 40 or 50,000, which is a big difference. So we see here that all the three methods going to give us a quite a different figure for each department. So this way we have to use which method is more easy and applicable to our now choosing between reciprocal is the most precise. Direct step down are simple to compute and understandable. Direct method is widely used. So these are the ways that we can ask. So the main crux of this topic is to learn these three methods. The last point is that if there is a common cost, the cost of operating a facility, activity, or a similar cost object that is shared by two or more users at a lower cost than the individual cost of the activity to each user. Method of allocating common cost is standalone cost allocation method or incremental cost method. And we can use any of these two depending upon the situation, like which method is. Standalone method means that we divide according to the proportion, and incremental method means that if there is a one activity, there's a one cost element, we have to distribute among the two. So one method is that we divide it according to the proportion there. using. The other way is that whatever the first department is using, so use it according to their cost if it is done only for that department. And then whatever the incremental amount is, that is going to be just allocated to the second department. So this is using information about each users of a cost object as a separate entity to determine the cost allocation weights, and individual costs are added together and allocated on the basis of each user's percentage of the total of the individual standalone cost. So that's the way that we distribute according to the predetermined or determined on their uh, previous data proportion. We divide it. Incremental cost use ranking of the individual users of the cost object in order of users most responsible for a common cost, and then use this ranking to allocate the cost among the users. The first ranked cost is the primary user, and the allocated cost up to its cost as a standalone user typically gets the highest allocation of the common cost. And the second ranked cost is the incremental user and is allocated the additional costs that arise from the being two users than just the primary user. So subsequent users handled in the same manner as the second ranked. So approaches to reimburse cost as determined by the contract. The contractor is paid a set price without analysis of an actual contract. Cost data, the contractor is paid after an analysis of an actual contract. Cost data, the contract may state that the reimbursement is based on actual allowable cost plus a fixed fee, which is cost plus contract. So these are the ways that we distribute the cost in different. So the main crux of this chapter is to learn these three methods. And for that reason, I want to share with you one exercise. We do this exercise, but I already done on Excel. So I'm going to share with you the exercise. First, we read the question together and try to understand what the question is asking for. And then I will show you the Excel file and how I use that Excel file to calculate those all the three methods. So let's stop sharing this one. So now you can guys see the practice question from this chapter. So this is uh, organization, and they have a two operating department, LTD and WSD. And there's a two sports department. One is legal division and the other one is human resource division. We know that these are the legal hours these departments are using, like 250 by human resource, 1,500 by LTD, and 750 by WSD. Then human resource department's hours we are using by the legal department is 2,500, LTD 22,500, and WSD 25,000. And these are the ratios that we can calculate on the basis of the total of these departments. So we see here as well actual usage for legal hours is 400, 400, 1,200, and altogether is 2,000. Percentages are this one, and then human resource hours 2,000, 26,000, and 11,400, and this is actual usage. And this is 360 is the budgeted fixed overhead cost before any inter-division cost allocation. So we want to allocate this the fixed cost of a legal department among the LTDS and WSD. And this is a human resource fixed cost. And these are the variable cost of legal and human resource department. So you remember what amount of what the question is saying. What amount of support division cost for legal and human resource will be allocated to LTD and WSD using direct cost step down, using the legal divisions cost first. So legal divisions cost is first, and then reciprocal cost method using linear equation. So these are the three requirements. Now keep it in mind here in this in our example that was simple. We apply a single rate method, but here there's a more information given in the sense that there's some fixed cost of these two supporting department, and there is some variable cost that these supporting departments are providing. And there's a budgeted allocation rate, and there's a actual allocation rate. Uh, Now we have to use these all information to use dual rate method, right? Dual rate method, not a single rate method. So dual rate method we're gonna apply. So this, keep it in mind, this question. And now I show you the Excel solution. So this is my Excel solution. You can see uh, this is a direct method. And what we did is we have a legal department and a human resource department. These are support departments. There's an operation department, which we call it as LTD and WSD, and this is our total. So what we want to distribute is we want to distribute first fixed overhead cost. Fixed overhead cost again in direct cost method, we have to distribute among only the LTD and WSD, not to the human resource. So we 360 divided. So here you can see the formula. That's what I want to show you here. What formula I applied. So I applied the formula that we divide this 360,000 over the budgeted total allocation, like 2250 multiply by 1500 used by LTD. So we distribute it in this way. Same is the case here because WSD is using 750. So we multiplied with the 750 and that's going to be distributed. Then we legal variable cost, like a variable cost for these. And the variable cost is 200 for legal department. And how we distribute it? Divided by the total actual hours, multiplied by the actual hours used by LTD. And this is more now 50. And so HR fixed allocation, we divide the HR. So you see these both fixed and variable cost of legal department is distributed among the LTD and WSD, and it becomes zero. And the same is the case with the human resource, and we divided human resource again with 47,500 hours into 22,500 hours used by LTD. And same is the case with the here with $25,000 hours used by WSD, and we distribute it. And we see here the HR variable cost, and we distribute it according to the actual hours they use. And we see that the total cost of LTD, which was uh, after this allocation, is 935,000 and 7,000 for WSD, and the total is 1.635 million. If we apply reciprocal method, step down method for this formula, you see here, sorry, uh, we see here that these are the two costs we want to distribute among the LTD and STD. So we first distribute the legal department cost uh, towards the human resource, right, and LTD and WSD. And you see here the formula. What we did, B13. B13 is this cost, fixed cost in 2.1, because 10% is going to distribute to this, and then 0.6, which is 60% to this, and 0.3, which is 30% to this. That's our fixed cost. The variable cost we distribute according to 20%, 20%, and 60%. So this is the way. Now, the total cost of human resource, which was previously 475 fixed cost, now it is not 465. It is 511, and we distribute this among these two departments, and we see that 500 among these two departments. And then this variable cost is human resource variable cost plus what we get it from legal department. So we distributed this among this, and we see. Now, the point I want to make it here that the direct method is allocating 935,000 to the LTD department, and the step down method is allocating 946 052.63 to the LTD department, and same is that. But the bottom line is not changing. So keep it in mind. I repeatedly say that the bottom line is not changing. So it's again the same. So this one is a reciprocal method, and how we did this, we designed these for fixed cost. We designed this equation, and LG is equal to 3,600 plus 0.505 HR, and HR is equal to 475,000 0.1 LG, and we solve it. And for the variable cost, these equations are there. These equations are there. And when we solve it, we distribute it, and finally we say. So we see again the direct method, the step down method, and a reciprocal method. All the figures are different in somewhat way that uh, we can see. So this is a very good example, and if you want to practice it, and I did this in order to get a good idea that how we apply. And I'm gonna also post this question and this Excel file on the important announcement as well, so that you can practice it and you can get a good idea about this. So this is all what I wanna share with you regarding this chapter. So if you guys have any question, any comment, please don't hesitate to ask or share.